The Greeks, they invented the deity known as Serapis, and it was this Serapis they voted as Jesus the Christ with an European face in the Council of Nicaea of 325 AD. Now, Alexander the Great, a man who became the greatest conqueror in Western European history, and the son of Philip of Macedonia, finally conquered Kemet, which is Egypt, the highest center of civilization at that time in 332 BCE. You see, for one to be a pharaoh in Kemet and exercise real political and pharaonic power, one must seek the blessings of Amen-Ra, the Egyptian sun god, and one must also seek the blessings of Mahat. Mahat is the center of justice, order, balance, and truth. When Alexander visited the oracle of Amen after conquering Egypt, he needed the legitimacy of his subjects in Egypt to be a pharaoh. He decided to submit his sacrifice to the great sun god. He married an Egyptian black woman, became a priest in the shrine of Amen-Ra, and started walking around his conquered empires and territories, proudly yelling and telling his subjects that he is not the son of Amen-Ra. Alexander even made a coin of himself in Egypt, where he was seen wearing the horn of Amen-Ra, a symbol of the sun god. He was deeply and passionately into the African-Egyptian spirituality, as he was bewildered by the Egyptian-African civilization. It was mostly these reasons he was poisoned to death by his generals and gay lovers. Of course, Alexander was a homosexual. Now, when he died in 323 BCE, they shared his empires among themselves, but something bad happened. One of the generals, named Sultan, gathered all the other generals in a meeting and eliminated them all, and he became the sole leader after the death of Alexander. Now, when General Sultan ruled Egypt after the death of Alexander, he refused to worship Amen-Ra. Instead, to have a legitimate recognition from the African Egyptians, he called on all the African Egyptian priests to create for him a different god figure with an European face. In order to create this new god with an European face that will also be accepted by the Egyptians, they added the mythology of Osiris, Heru from Egypt, and Zeus from the Greeks. The combination of Zeus, the Greek god, Osiris, and Heru from Egypt brought into existence Serapis. Now, General Sultan, who started the first Ptolemy dynasty in Egypt, was now under the divine guidance of Serapis. He refused to follow the line of Alexander the Great because he's aware of the consequences in Europe. Serapis became the new god, and those Egyptian priests became the followers of Serapis as they started teaching and converting Egyptians to the worship of Serapis, which directly gives legitimacy to General Sultan, the first Ptolemy dynastic ruler in Egypt. We must understand that it was the followers of Serapis in Egypt who started the first Coptic church, and it is this Serapis that was voted as Jesus the Christ by the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD under the authority of Emperor Constantine. The Africans who attended the Council of Nicaea opposed the decisions of the council since they were aware of how Serapis came into existence. They rejected it because they knew it was fake, that Serapis was invented by the combination of Osiris, Heru, and Zeus. They rejected the Nicene Creed and the idea of Jesus the Christ. It was at this moment Emperor Constantine ordered the elimination of these African priests and the destruction of their teachings and writings. One of such African priests was Eros, who opposed the idea of the Holy Trinity. His books were destroyed, and all his teachings were declared blasphemy by the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD. Get the book, The Untold History of the Black Race and the Fall of African Civilization today to know more of your untold history.